In 1969, something happened that should have ended the Swiss watch industry entirely. And the strangest part? The Swiss saw it coming. They just didn't believe it would work. Hi, I'm Chronotick, and today we're telling the story of the quartz crisis, a moment when precision, tradition, and ego collided, and an entire nation's centuries-old monopoly on luxury time nearly vanished overnight. This is the story of Seiko the Astron, and how one small decision in Switzerland almost cost them everything. Let me set the stage. It's the early 1960s. Switzerland owns watchmaking. Not metaphorically, literally. They dominate global watch production. Something like 60 to 70% of the world's watches come from Switzerland. The Swiss franc is synonymous with quality. A Swiss watch isn't just a timekeeping device, it's a statement. It says you have taste, money, and respect for craftsmanship. The watchmaking industry employs hundreds of thousands of people across the country. Master horologists pass knowledge down through generations. Families have been making watches for centuries. It's not just an industry, it's a national identity. Now, across the Pacific, in Japan, there's a company called Seiko. At this point, Seiko is known for reliable, affordable watches. They're good, sure, but they're not Swiss. In the hierarchy of watches, Swiss is the summit. Japanese watches are the practical alternative. The Honda to Mercedes, if you will. Functional, honest, but not prestigious. But Seiko's executives had ambitions. They wanted the top of the mountain. In 1958, Seiko sets an audacious goal. By 1964, in just 6 years, they will create the world's first quartz wristwatch. Most of the watch industry thought this was naive. Quartz technology existed in laboratories, sure. Bell Labs had built quartz clocks in the 1920s. They were accurate, but they were enormous, filling entire rooms, running on massive electrical currents. The idea of shrinking that technology down into something small enough to wear on your wrist seemed, well, impractical. But Seiko didn't care about conventional wisdom. Their team, led by engineers like Tsuneya Nakamura and Kentaro Hattori's grandson, dove into the problem. How do you make a quartz oscillator tiny? How do you power it? How do you convert its vibrations into mechanical motion that a watch hand can follow? They experimented with tuning fork movements, they miniaturized circuits, they solved power problems, and in December 1969, 5 years after the deadline, but still, they did it. The Seiko Astron. It was revolutionary. A wristwatch with a quartz oscillator, accurate to within 0.2 seconds per month. For context, a good mechanical watch might lose or gain 10 to 15 seconds a month. The Astron was accurate, brutally, almost impossibly accurate. And here's the thing, Seiko knew exactly what they'd created. They knew it was going to change everything, so they did something brilliant. They didn't just announce it. They submitted it to the Chronometer Observatory in Geneva, the most respected certification body in watchmaking, the Swiss citadel of horological authority. The Astron passed every test. When the Swiss watched this Japanese watch, this upstart, unknown, unfamiliar watch, receive official certification for accuracy that no mechanical watch could match, something shifted in their industry. Most of them didn't understand it yet. The response in Switzerland was dismissive, patronizing even. The attitude was basically, yes, well, quartz timekeeping is clever, but it's not real watchmaking. A real watch, in the Swiss view, had to have gears and springs and the human craftsmanship that went into assembling them by hand. A quartz watch, that was just a battery and a circuit board. Where's the artistry in that? This wasn't arrogance, exactly. It was something more insidious. It was conviction. The Swiss believed, truly believed, that what they did was irreplaceable, that their tradition guaranteed their future. They were catastrophically wrong. Throughout the 1970s, quartz technology spread. Seiko perfected it. Other Japanese manufacturers, Citizen, Bulova, Orient, jumped in. Costs dropped. Accuracy improved. And most critically, consumers didn't care about gears and springs. They cared about knowing what time it was. The Swiss watch industry collapsed. I'm not exaggerating. By the early 1980s, Swiss watch production had plummeted by 50%. Companies that had existed for over a century went bankrupt. Unemployment in the watch industry hit devastating levels. Entire towns that depended on watch manufacturing withered. Between 1979 and 1983, the Swiss watch industry lost something like 500,000 jobs. Manufacturing facilities closed, apprenticeships evaporated, knowledge that had taken centuries to accumulate simply vanished. It was an industry extinction event. But, and this is where the story gets interesting, Switzerland didn't disappear. Here's what they did instead. Instead of competing with Japan on price and mass production, they retreated to what Japan couldn't touch: prestige, heritage, and luxury. So they made a strategic choice. They went upmarket. A mechanical watch became a luxury item, a status symbol, a connection to tradition in an increasingly digital world. Brands like Rolex, Patek Philippe, Omega, they didn't stop making mechanical watches. They doubled down. They emphasized the handwork, the precision, the generations of knowledge embedded in every movement. And consumers, they bought it, literally. By the 1990s, something extraordinary happened. The Swiss watch industry didn't recover to its old size. It went upmarket, and in doing so, it became more profitable than before. Fewer watches, but each one worth exponentially more. Meanwhile, Japan? Seiko became phenomenally successful. They flooded the mass market with affordable, accurate quartz watches. They made watch ownership democratic. Japan won the war, objectively. They made the better technology. They crushed Swiss market dominance. They transformed how billions of people experience timekeeping. The quartz crisis almost destroyed Swiss watchmaking. But in being almost destroyed, Switzerland learned something vital. Sometimes the best way to survive extinction isn't to compete with the new world. It's to remind people why the old world still matters. What do you think? Does prestige and heritage ever beat pure technological superiority? Or did Seiko's true victory happen decades ago, and we're just living in Switzerland's carefully constructed nostalgia? I'd love to know. See you next time.